Today we will replicate in our Revit models the spatial organization of the building as documented in the Studio A drawings. This will involve matching the horizontal datums, the floor levels, and then the vertical datums, the building grid lines. Everything in our models can then be located and modeled with reference to these. To do this, first we'll import a building section PDF into one of our elevation views, position it so that its level 1 aligns with our level 1, and then move or create our new Revit levels to match the ones in the PDF. Then we'll import a building plan into one of our floor plan views, lock it in place, and create our north, south, and east-west grid lines there to match the ones in the PDF. I've placed on Blackboard a zip file with renamed PDFs, so they actually have the sheet number and name in the file name. It's just one image, like first floor, second floor, third floor, fourth floor, building section. So we can start to use those here in the drawing. I left out all the ones with finishes and tenant fit out kind of stuff, but just the building itself. So let's start by thinking how best to organize all the files you've got going here. And as I have here up at the top of the first page, this project needs its own folder with its name on it, like 1405 West Broadway. And then within that, subfolders for the PDFs, for photographs, for history, for whatever you need to put together. And then we'll move all the Revit-related files over to a shared folder on Cardbox. The non-Revit files can certainly stay on Canva or Google Docs or wherever it's convenient for your group to work on them together. But for right now, so let me just shrink this for a second. First, here in Documents, I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder for 1405. So I'll just right-click out here, New Folder, 1405 West Broadway. So now we can go into that folder, right-click, New Folder, and let's call it PDFs. Just the ones from the floor plans and all from Studio A. And I'll make another one for photos. And you guys will make whatever folders you decide that you need. Okay, over in my downloads folder, I've got the zip file for these. And to refresh your memory about how zip files work, double click on it, it opens it up, and you can drag files individually from here to, say, your desktop. But what we really want to do here is extract all of them at once to our PDFs folder, just to get them all together in one place and not have to keep jumping back and forth from downloads to documents to, desktop or whatever. So once I'm in here, I can pick up extract all, and it says, where do I want them? And I want them not here in the downloads folder anymore, but in the documents folder, 1405 West Broadway, PDFs. And that's where I'm going to explode these two. Extract. So now we see that in the documents, West Broadway PDFs, I've got following files. The way I got these was that, there's that big PDF that Nathan sent around that has 57 pages or something in it. In Acrobat, I used organize pages, extract pages as separate files. And it gave me just page 1, page 2, page 3. And I went in and looked at each of those to see what it was, and then renamed it with the sheet number it's got. So these refer cleanly back to the Studio A drawings, and then what they are, level 0 for the basement, level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the roof. And I included just the ones that have the measurements that we need, dimensional information in the plan views, and then floor heights and floor thicknesses in the building sections. And then there are a couple through here, wall sections that have the details for the stairwell walls and the elevator shaft walls. So we keep coming back to those. As I said, I didn't bring in all those extra finish images. We just don't need those. So here they are, documents, West Broadway PDFs. Go back to Revit. So what are we going to do with them? Well, we're going to start creating the framework of a building. And I would like to start to create a new model, a new project. This time I would like, instead of using this residential default, which doesn't really apply, I want to browse over to the construction default one. And it hardly comes with any materials, any furniture. All it basically comes with is a trailer to park on the job site. I mean, that's like That's like the only component. We don't need all that stuff. We don't need trees, we don't need trucks, we don't need toilets. We just want a place to start working. Construction default, open. And to be clear, and some people got confused about this last semester, I backtrack. We are creating a new project. We're using that template to create a new project. We don't want to create a new project template. We're not going there. We're creating a new project using the construction default template as a starting point. Okay, new construction default template, new project. Something's a little weird with this that we're going to get rid of, but you can just see is normally I think of level 1, level 2 as sort of moving up the building, but here they've got level 02, 03, 04 that are actually down at the bottom. We're just going to get rid of those guys. Let's just go into any of the elevation views. Maybe just east elevation is the first one. So once we're there, I really don't want to deal with all these levels down here. We'll create them as we need them. I think we really just need to do one for the basement floor. I'm just going to select all these guys, everything below level 1, right click and delete. Okay. And that will get rid of a bunch of their associated floor plan views as well. I'll be closely following the numbered procedures on page 1. I want to make our levels match the levels in the Studio A drawings. And we have a choice of how high resolution to bring it in at. 72 is going to be pretty chunky. I would say at least 150 dots per inch. I would say, okay. And right now, it's just this big old image, which somehow Acrobat or Revit has known to bring it in at the appropriate scale so that the scale of the drawing matches the scale of the model. I mean, it's at the 1/8 of an inch equals a foot, which is 1 to 96, so it multiplies it by 96 in both directions. And we want to keep this one checked, lock proportions, so we don't accidentally stretch things weirdly. Okay, this is an image we can just place any old place. What we want to do is align it so that its level 1 matches our level 1, and not the other way around, because there is you can see it in the site plan view, a physical datum, the project base point, the XYZ origin of this model. And this one is known to be, this level 1 is 0 feet, 0 inches, which we don't want to change by moving our level 1. So what we're going to do is move the image over to where it's a little weird to see this for the first couple of times. We're going to move the image until its level 1 line, like even the middle of its level 1 marker, lines up with our actual level 1 Revit marker. So I just go in here, select it, and use the arrow keys to move it down. Just till I've got our level line right through the middle of that one. And why not the top or the bottom? It's because that's a line that really, in their Revit model, that's a super thin line, but it ends up being drawn with a pen of a certain thickness. And so what we're seeing here is the pixel thickness of that line, but it really is centered right down the middle of that. Oh, ack. In my haste, I aligned the jogged label line for the PDF level 1 to our level 1. I should have aligned the actual first floor top of slab line to our level 1. I will fix this later in the video. Now that this image is here, I don't want to move this accidentally. So I'm just going to select it and pin it. And now I can select it, but I can't move it. And that's sort of like locking a layer on AutoCAD, except we do it by one object. And you can see when I select the PDF, the push pin icon shows up indicating that the PDF is pinned. Oh, I actually made a mistake here. Thank you one and all for asking. Glad we didn't get further along. To correct the level 1 alignment, we don't want to move the levels. We move the drawing. I need to pick it and unpin it. Can fix it. And I'm using my arrow keys here to adjust the position of the image so that its level 1 lines up with my level 1. So that's correct like that. Okay, so now that I got it stabilized that way, I'm going to lock it again, pin it again. Now we need to create levels to match theirs. So let's take our level 2, and this is one that we will be moving this one. Level 1 stays right where it is. That's linked to the project's origin point. We're just going to move our level 2 up to line up with this level 2, and I'm just selecting it and using my arrow keys. The roof slopes, and it says up here at the top, it says medium roof height. So for right now, I'm just going to drag the roof level somewhere up there just to get it out of the way of all this other stuff. So I'll just escape, pick it, and drag it up there. And my guess is we'll probably use it to be right where maybe where it hits the inside walls, just as our datum point, and we just go up from there. I'm not sure how we'll use that yet. Haven't really explored the roof yet. Okay, but we do want it. We have level 1 and level 2. Let's create level 3, which we can do just by control. Select that one and control drag it up, and then arrow it up into place. With anything in Revit, if you select something and drag it, you move it. Cancel. Control Z. If you hold down Control and drag it, you copy it. Or I could just copy this thing. Either way would work fine. Copy from here up to here. Because there had been a level 8, Revit remembers that there have been a number of them made. And I think if we change this one, we zoom in, double click on the word level, we can change this to level 3. And I think Revit will then pick up with 4 and 5 as we continue on up the building. To copy a level up in an elevation or section view, I can either select it and use the copy tool and say go from here to here. That's probably the cleanest, to tell you the truth, instead of dragging. And then each of these will need to get moved into place. When I copied level 3, it did pick up the numbering system for number 4. And I'll pick that one, escape, copy from here to here, select it. Okay, level 5. And you only have to do this once, per project. It's worth being as precise as you can just to get it right. Over here, I've got a dimension string. It would be handy for us to put dimensions on here, like right next to those, so we can just check that we're correct. And you'll notice here it says 14 feet 2 plus or minus existing. It says VIF, that stands for verify in field. That means if there's anything really accurate that has to go in here, like a piece of steel column being inserted, be sure to come out and measure that exactly for that. Because those floors were a little wonky. They did different stuff in different places. So this is sort of the architect saying to the contractors, this is for estimating purpose, this is good, but for anything that you actually need to cut to fit, go measure that. So if we want to see these level lines on the left side of the view, my level lines end over, partway through the building. I would like to extend them out here and put the level indicators on them out here, so I have them on both sides. So regardless of which side of the drawing I've zoomed into, I can see which level I'm talking about. So if we pick one of these, we can see on the end, we get the big dot, and it says drag the extents of the level in the model. I'm just going to pick it and drag it out. And most of those other ones came with it. They're all sort of locked together. So now these lines go clear across the project. When you select one of these, it'll have a little lock on it. And I guess yours was done without a lock, but that means you can draw it all by itself, or you can pick it, drag it out till it lines up with them, and then lock it. So then they'll all travel together. And that's usually the case. You just want the whole thing to move as a block. Okay, so to get these levels labeled over here, if you select one, there's just this checkbox here, which means to show the bubble or not. check, 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 check. And what I want to do is adjust our levels so that they come out without having fractional inches, so they match the PDF. I mean, these, I'm sure these were actually drawn at 14 foot 10, but our method so far of eyeballing things by pixels is not entirely accurate. So I'm going to first make sure that my first floor is indeed at the right place. I'm going to come in and find the best place to do that. Over here, this line is exactly in the middle with that line. So we'll take level 1 as a given and dimension all the other levels from there. And then to adjust the others all, I'm not going to do them one at a time. I'm going to put a dimension string on these, annotate aligned, and just go click, 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 click. And I guess the roof along the radius. And then once I'm done, I'll just click out somewhere where it's not going to find anything to dimension to. So now we have these slight discrepancies between the 1410 and the 14.9 and 13/16, which we just do not want to be dealing with. So the way to change any dimension, the way to make something in the right place, is to select the thing you want to move, which is my level 2 level, and then the dimension turns blue, and we say 14 foot 10. I'm trying to match them exactly. I don't want to deal with 64th inches. And then level 3, I'll pick level 3. Its dimension turns blue to indicate you can select me and change it. And I'm going to make that the 14 foot 2. Doing this, it's awkward when sometimes you think you're picking a Revit element and it turns out you're picking the PDF. So what we want to do, since this image is pinned, over here in select, under modify select, uncheck select pinned elements. For one thing, once we pinned them, we know we want them there. But the other thing is that now when we're picking things, we won't be picking the image itself, which I think will help. Okay, so that's getting our level set. You can fix the rest on your own time. Let's come down and do a level 0 for the basement, which is minus 11 feet 11. So I'm going to pick this one, copy down 11 feet 11.